G'day folks, Luke Fitzpatrick here and G'day. What the? Yeah, this would probably do it to you. Where have you come from? My name's Luke. Do you mind? I'm trying to make a YouTube video. Well, I'm gonna talk about fishing lures. Really? That's my top 5. It's kind of what I was gonna do. Yeah. Dude, you are freaking me out. This is a little disturbing, isn't it? Wow. Let's get into the video. I might go. Okay, so what I'm definitely not going to do today is talk about a certain product or a brand type. It's not a sponsors video. I'm just going to be talking about fishing lures in general. Tackle bag. Now, I completely understand that what you keep in your tackle bag, whether you're on your boat or you're going shore-based, could be very different than, for instance, what I have in my wading bag. All right. So that's why I'm not going to talk about certain brands and certain measurements of lures and things like that. I just want to talk about lures in general. My top 5 that I think you've got to have in either your boat, your tackle bag, your wading kit, whatever type of fishing you do. Okay, first up, soft plastics. Without a doubt, soft plastics have revolutionised fishing over the last 20 years. But where do you start? There is literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different soft plastics out there. I'm going to highlight the 3 types that I reckon you need to have in either your tackle bag, your wading bag, or in your boat, especially if you're just starting out with lure fishing. Okay, first one, a curl tail grub. This is a whip tail grub. Curl tail grubs, okay, named for obvious reasons. They have a nice curl tail at the end of the grub. These lures are really, really good, especially if you're beginning with lure fishing. An ideal soft plastic curl tail grub will have the jig head at the front, it'll sink down to the bottom, and that little tail will just wave away at the very, very top. You can hop it, you can slow roll it, or you can just leave it on the bottom, and very little action is required. The water does most of the work. Whoa! Paddle tails. Definitely got to have paddle tails in your soft plastic collection. Big thing about paddle tails, it's all about, exactly as the name suggests, the tail. The tail beats along through the water, creating a lot of vibration and noise. Slow roll, single hop, fast retrieve, anything like that. Predators cannot help themselves with a paddle tail. Okay, flick bait. Okay, kind of looks like a paddle tail, except it's got a bit more of a lesser tail on it. And what it's designed to do, sink down through the water column, and then you give the rod tip a bit of a flick, and it sort of darts around as it goes up through the water column, looking like a wounded bait fish. Flick bait soft plastics. So regardless of what type of fishing you do, you've got to have soft plastics in your collection somewhere, be it tackle bag, wading kit, or on your boat. And I reckon for a beginner just starting out, you'll definitely want to have a curl tail grub, a paddle tail, and a flick bait type profile. Sizes and things and colors and things, size wise, all depends on what you're targeting, your target species. If you're going for brim and whiting, you want to keep it nice and small. And if you're going out chasing giants of the deep, you want to up the size a little bit. Okay folks, we've spoken about soft plastics. Now we're going to talk about hard body lures, specifically divers. Hard body lures, again, come in a huge range of colours and sizes and profiles, all right? Again, very confusing when you walk into a tackle store. You definitely want to have a hard body lure in your tackle kit, however, when you go fishing out. Just to explain some of the differences, this here is it's a Dr. Evil lure, and it's got you'll see a massive bib on it, all right, which is a lot of surface area. Okay, so the water can catch on that, more surface area, and it takes this lure very, very deep through the water column. All right, they all sort of have an action like this. Some claim they have better actions and all that sort of stuff, but they all basically swim with a little wiggle as they're going through the water, and they all have rattles. This one with the large surface area on the bib is designed to get down really, really deep. So if I'm going up into Platypus Bay, or out on the artificial reef chasing snapper or some deep dwelling fish, I'll take this, let it way out the back of the boat, and I've had this bouncing off the bottom in 30 meters of water. This one here I use when I go into the Great Sandy Straits, fishing in shallower water, in the drains and things. It's a suspending lure, and you notice it's got a much smaller bib on it, okay? It's designed to get down to about 2, maybe 4 meters. It's the Oz Tackle Bruiser. Kind of looks like a potty mullet. So it will hit the surface, sit on the surface, give it a pull with the rod tip as you wind, and it will do that action again, and it will go down to about 2 meters, and it won't go much further than that, okay, due to the water resistance on the bib. Now there's a lot more, a huge range of hard body lures out there. Again, size-wise, match the bait, okay? If you're chasing brim, you're going to use a much smaller hard body lure. So if I'm going down to the local beach here at Urangan in Hervey Bay, and I'm chasing, say, flathead, I'll take a couple of soft plastics, I'll take a couple of hard body lures, and I know the water down there ranges from 1 to 3 meters. So I'll make sure the lures that I take with me swim sort of one at 1 meter, 1.5, and the other maybe get right down the bottom at 3 meters. Okay, so I might take 2 or 3 with me that sort of do that, and the difference in them will be the bib size and things. Now, if you're going way out deep chasing big mackerel and things like that, you'll upsize. All right, this is the Exocet, huge lure. They get even bigger. All right, now the profile of the bib still does that swimming action as it goes through the water, but you look at the bib on the lure, a lot narrower, not as much surface area for the water to catch on, okay? So this lure is designed to go down to about 2 meters and to be pulled along, trolled along a lot quicker through the water, okay? And it can do that because it's got the less surface area. If I was try and troll, if I was to try and troll this Dr. Evil lure with its big bib at the same speed as those bigger lures, it would snap off. I'd either break the bib out of the lure or the line would go, because the water resistance on here would just be too much, okay? So hard body lures, you definitely want to have them in your tackle bag. Comes down to species and water conditions, all right? And they're the sort of things you want to think about when you walk into a tackle store to choose what type of lure you want. Okay, we've covered off on soft plastic lures and hard body lures. Let's now talk about surface lures. This is highly addictive fishing, okay? If you get into surface lure fishing, you probably won't ever look back. All right, I'll just go over a couple of the different types of surface lures, and again you need to think about the species that you're chasing and where you're fishing as to which one you'll take with you. Probably what I would suggest first, if you're just a beginner starting out and you want to have a crack at surface fishing, go get yourself a few poppers. Now, poppers float on the surface and they have a large cup face. The idea being, when you use the retrieve, you cast it out, let it settle on the water, let the line settle, bring up the slack, and then you pull down and towards you and reel in the slack at the same time. And what that makes the lure do, some of them will stay up a bit more than others, but generally they'll sort of move through the water like this, very shallow, and they scoop up water with the face and push it out in front of them, creating a big spray pattern in front of the lure and noise as well. It actually does sound like a big pop, sort of goes bloop, bloop through the water, okay? And what that does to any predators down below is it creates a lot of commotion. Big poppers are very, very noisy. I'm a huge fan of poppers about this size, okay? It's 3.5, 4 inches long. Looks kind of like a river to sea version, all right? I paint these myself. I buy the blanks and I paint them up and fit them with quality trocar gear from Eagle Claw. All right, but I find this profile size really effective on the Fraser Coast. A nice big cup face on it, okay? Goes through the water quite nicely. And it's just, I think it's the profile size, okay, and the bait it's mimicking. Now again, thinking about the species that you're targeting for which surface lure you're going to purchase and use to target that fish. Okay, big poppers and things like that. You can then come down to these type, which are like a walk the dog lure. So they land on the surface and then they sort of do this action, like walking a dog towards the boat. Get even smaller, okay, do the same sort of thing. Perfect for brim and whiting and stuff. And then you've got little poppers as well. Okay, we've spoken about soft plastics, hard bodies, surface lures. Let's now get into stick baits and metal lures, okay? I'll put the link in the description below of videos that I've made using stick baits. I absolutely love them. After surface fishing, throwing stick baits and thing is my next favourite form of fishing. Baits, sink or float, okay? And I generally associate using stick baits with chasing fast movers, okay? Those fish that really move at speed in the water, like queenfish, GTs, mackerel, all those sort of species that are really moving really quick, and they love pursuing a fast moving meal. Throw the stick bait out. If it's a floating stick bait, it'll sit on the surface, and as you bring it back towards you really quick, it'll sort of do that flicking action across the surface, and it'll really get the predators excited. The other species is tuna as well, really good to throw at tuna, and they'll sort of track along behind it and either strike it as it's moving, or if you throw a pause in there, you'll be amazed at how many times they hit it on the pause. This one's a sinking one, okay? They hit the water, they sink down, you can get them to a certain depth. I'll throw a link of a video I made only a couple of weeks ago chasing queenfish with metal lures, stick baits, and I let it hit the surface, start ripping it back straight away, so I know it's tracking 1 or 2 meters under. Then the next cast, if I don't get anything, I'll sort of count to 5, let it sink down further and bring it back, and then I'll count to 10 until I get down near the bottom. Okay, I think this is a really good profile size for on the Fraser Coast. I've had a lot of success with this. I've caught longtail tuna, mac tuna, GTs, a variety of mackerel, all sorts of things on this size sort of stick bait. There's some really fancy ones. Okay, that's an MB Custom. All right. So this is the twitch. All right. So you sort of want to give it a bit of a twitch as you move it through the water, and it darts from side to side. And then if you want to go down to whiting and things like that, little stick baits to chase them are a good idea as well. So metals and stick baits, I'm not quite sure if they're different or if they're the same thing. Maybe leave a comment and let me know if they're different in your opinion. I sort of throw them in there in the same sort of category as lure type. Okay, so we've covered off on soft plastic lures, hard body lures, surface lures, and stick baits / metal lures. Okay, the last thing, the number 5 or number 1, whichever order we've been going in, definitely got to have in your tackle box is something funky, folks. All right, you want to have something in your tackle box that is just different. All right. Fish see a lot of lures in a lot of areas, okay, where there's a pressured waterway, they see lots and lots of similar lures. Sometimes having something very, very different is exactly what you need to get the bite. It is a weird thing. that is a Oz Tackle Gizmo. It's a weighted jig head basically with 2 spinners put off to the side. Alright, and you can run a soft plastic off the back of it as well. It comes in a range of different sizes, small ones through to the bigger ones. It's just really different. You'll see, I'll put the link on chasing flathead and things in the description below. You would have, and if you've watched my videos before, you've seen this soft plastic. Okay, it's the Junkie Craw from Reflection Swim Baits Australia. It's just different. Okay, looks different from the curl tail, the paddle tail, the flick bait. Just looks different. It's got lots of wiggly bits and things on it. So have something in your arsenal that's just really different, a little bit bizarre, the sort of thing that you'll look at and go, not quite sure if that'll work, but I'll throw it anyway and see what happens. Okay, so there you go, folks. My top 5, the top 5 lure types that you have to have in your tackle box. It doesn't matter if you're off a boat, shore-based, however you're fishing, got to have these 5 different types of lures in your tackle kit. Soft plastic, couple of different varieties. Hard bodies, couple of different varieties. Surface lures, definitely highly addictive. A stick bait / metal, that type of thing. And then to finish it off, something really unique and different, a little bit funky, to try and draw that bite when things are really, really tough. Okay, I think I've got to clean up the mess now. Okay, I think that's everything. Whoa!